What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Crypto Kindness channel, bringing you a stream here of the, as I called it, the PulseChain Prodigy group. We've got the best of the best, K4K, CryptoGRFX, Jake Sharp, which I need to learn more about his name, Inkayknows. I want to hear about that. Got a good group of people in the chat already. What we're going to talk about today is the fact that there's just not much to talk about. So we want to engage with the community. We just want to, bring some hopium, bring some excitement, share some smiles, share some laughs, and just engage with you all to, it's a bear market. There's not a lot of fun happening out there. And the most important thing to us is to really just engage with the community and let you all know we're kind of experiencing the same things. We're all in this together. We're here to have fun. We're here to make some money. And we're here to, at least these three guys are here to educate you all. I'm here to ask questions. So if you're in the chat, please share this on Twitter. Please hit the thumbs up. Let's get some people in here. Let's get some questions rolling. But first and foremost, let's get the gang into the stream. So first, we got K4K, we got CryptoGRFX, and we got Jake Sharp. What's up, everybody?
Yo.
Good. What's up? Yo. How's everybody?
Oh, yeah. Woo! We're here.
Woo! Long time no see.
Yeah, man. So some of us have been taking some breaks. Some of us have been pumping out some new information on Hedron and other stuff like this. And then we got Jake, who I think does 7 live streams a day plus 375 tweets and
whatever. That's on my off days.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I'm here to grow the community. I mean, one thing I noticed with the community is a lot of the... Seriously? Do you guys hear that? Oh, anyway, it's gone.
You want your crypto.
It's coming. Hardware wallet. No, I see that a lot of people that watch my channel are not in the community. So even in these bear markets, our YouTube channels are onboarding. It's absolutely wild. Mm-hmm. So this is it's gonna be a wild ride, man. After everything launches, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. If you can grow your channel in the bear market, dude, you wait till the bull market, man. Like the growth we're gonna see with new people coming into crypto again, when they're seeing their bags increase, people want to buy as the price goes up, as opposed to it going down for whatever reason.
Doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Well, speaking of growing a channel in the bear market, you guys all being streamers, you know how kind of disappointing it is now. You do a stream, you do a video, and it gets like 75 people that watch it. You're like, come on. Unless, of course, you're Jake. And then everybody watches.
You just clickbait. Clickbait.
Yeah,
That's the only way to do it, man.
A lot of the normal, I guess, normies who would stick around during a bull market, they're just being weeded out, and they're either they got no time for crypto because they think it's just a scam, it's going to zero, they already lost all their money in Luna and Celsius, and they're like, wow, that scam sucked, I'm gonna tell all my friends not to go look at it too. Yeah. So you're just gonna see less numbers now and stuff. So but I like that the Hex community is still just like pumping out content. Hexo's back to streaming. That's awesome. Who's hype about that? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
How many days? 555 days of streaming.
Yep.
Wow.
That's a crazy commitment.
That is a long commitment.
I love it. And then he's like going to disappear. He said, I wonder how legit that claim is. That's going to be funny.
Well, time will tell. But yeah, I mean,
He'll be in Hexco by then.
That, the people that were original to creating content seem to be coming back, which is really cool.
I think Crypto Vince is starting to stream again. I think I saw his tweet the other day.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Nice.
So we all have some real competition.
Oh no, the competition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy. Light work.
How do y'all like the movie theater in the background, by the way?
I like it.
I think it's awesome.
Looks great.
I might do this. I mean, I got to figure out how to make my face light up. Well, actually, probably not. Nobody needs to see that. We got some pretty cool comments coming in already. Godfather J6 is in the house. We got Hex on air. KFC, what is that? Smackbox. That's kind of a sweet name. I'm not gonna lie. Rafael Gutierrez. Wow, the Dream Team. I could probably show some of these in engagement. I just tried to say his name. I can't roll my R's, Jake. You can roll R's like nobody's business. I I'm seriously envious of the way you talk.
Nobody can know where I'm from. It's kind of funny. I've heard everything when it comes to my accent, and I don't say it, so I like people guessing. It's entertaining.
I would guess Scotland. Is that right?
So I've heard Irish, Scottish, South African. I've heard Polish. I've heard Romanian. I've heard Russian. I've heard Spanish. I've heard everything, man. It's good. I don't even know where my accent is from. It just kind of came.
What? Okay.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
This is sweet. I got in the background now. I've got commercials playing.
Nice.
I thought all Richard Hart stuff was ad free, but maybe I'm on somebody else's channel.
Must be.
R23 says hi. What's up, R23?
Yeah,
I get lots of messages from people like, "Hey, when are you coming back to make videos? Missed your stuff." I don't know. Make sure you watch, I guess, all my old stuff because like I cover a lot of stuff, and I guess I could probably cut them up and make them nicer. But I've been like working towards, like, when you have so much, like I have a lot of content that's not, it doesn't go over the same thing again. It's just the next topic. So I don't reiterate a lot of stuff, but that is kind of important content to get out there again, is like little clips of like, this was the meat of this whole thing, and just you repost it. And you need, and I've been looking for some people to work with to like cut up my clips and post them to all socials. Like that just needs to happen. That's scaling. So I've been like working towards that. I have like an editor now. I haven't made the content really with him, but I made one video. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I have plans for it. It's on my channel, but it's like a twerking contest involving some of the top streamers on Twitch.
I did see that,
and including Richard Hart, and it's like a challenge to them. And I don't think they're gonna watch this stream, so I can kind of share my ideas with it. So like the goal, it's just an idea, but the goal is to get because on Twitch people donate and they send links to these streamers who get like 30,000 viewers live, right? And then their YouTube gets 200,000 to like 1 million views every video. So if you can pay $20 to get a video you create that is fun and entertaining, including that streamer, they love to watch their own content that includes themselves, that pumps their own stuff, because they're vain, just like every content creator, you know. If someone sends you a video that they made of you and a meme or something, it's like, it's so flattering, it's so fun. So they love it too. And if you can get that in front of 30,000 people and then all of their YouTube clips, if you make it well enough, you can really like propel yourself up in viewership, in my opinion. I haven't done the second part of getting it in front of their eyes yet, but I made the video, worked with an editor for that. So
did you actually twerk in the video?
Oh, I'm not twerking. It's Richard Hart twerking. It's like, can these streamers out-twerk a billionaire? And so I try to throw that billionaire thing in there because how many communities have like a billionaire to chill and is entertaining and fun? Most people think of billionaire and they're like, oh, I hate those guys. But this guy's fun and entertaining. And that's what all these Twitch streamers do. They just entertain. You know, it doesn't give them any other viewers any benefit other than entertainment. What if you could get rich watching a streamer? I think that would be really cool. So that's kind of like the goal, is to get kind of just big audiences, views on Richard, and then the rest kind of just falls into place.
Yeah. So we went from massively big brain PulseX content to twerking.
Yeah, I may have switched horses too soon, but you know.
We got some stuff here. We've got, let's see, people want to, what is it? People want to hear some, here we go, from Will. Here's some real talk, no FUD, no BS. Well, sometimes real talk can come across as FUD if you're telling the truth. We do need to be honest there. We've got a lot of people guessing as to where Jake's accent is from.
It's from the moon.
It's from the moon.
He's returned.
Brigadiers here is Scotland. A lot of people calling out Scotland, which I can see that. But let's jump right in here. I got a question, and I'd love to get everybody's opinion. What do you think about the Mount Gox situation? Is it going to get Bitcoin down to 11K? Jake, I see you nodding your head yes. Let's have you start with this one.
So the market is going to see more blood. Like this whole, because the way kind of psychology works in these markets, you definitely see it on Twitter, is every time Bitcoin goes up 7 to 12%, everybody feels like they're missing out, and they're missing out on the next bull market, and they buy in, and then they get wrecked. Like, especially in these markets, it's not a trader's market. All of these traders, they're losing money. They're losing money on stream. I mean, you cannot look past it. This is not a trader's market, man. So be very
are.
patient. You're not, yeah, exactly, and you're not missing out on the bull market. Be patient. Be a sniper, not a shotgun. All of these things that I kind of repeat on live streams. And yeah, the Mt. Gox thing. I mean, I think like a month ago, roughly, we got a 75 basis point interest rate hike from the Fed, and that took Bitcoin from 31K to 17K. So these prices can change extremely quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised with Mt. Gox and the FUD that creates. I think the narrative will push down the price a lot more than the actual coins being sold. I could get bloody, man. Isn't it like end of August?
I think that's
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's like my view on it.
It's
can go
like
fast.
$3 billion at 20K. That's how much.
A lot.
That's how many coins it is, and it's crazy because I actually made a video. It's probably my most technical recent video was about how much, like, why is the Bitcoin price going down? Oh, maybe it's at the time it was $30,000 Bitcoin. And if you do like the yearly analysis of how many Bitcoins come out as inflation to miners who just sell it, it's like $10 billion of sell pressure. How are you supposed to keep that up in the bear when they're raising interest rates and the dollar is going to, like, it's got to go down. So, or at least people think it will go down, so it goes down. It's just so much selling. It's kind of crazy. Like, imagine 10 billion just slowly, just constant selling. All right, get 10 billionaires to buy it up to keep the same price. Good luck.
Down into the right.
CryptoGRFX, what do you think?
I would love to be able to do the math on it to, figure out exactly like what the implications are. But I mean, just the thought of 150,000 Bitcoin and $3 billion being put back into the market. I mean, like that just, there's no green in my mind when those numbers come up. I'll tell you that. I think it'd be cool if I hope we don't go to 11K for the people that are holding, but I think it's going to happen to some degree. I think it's just hearing the Mt. Gox thing, all of the underwater stuff that's going on with all these big corporations and lenders that are basically insolvent or trying not to look insolvent and secretly. I mean, we've got so many things happening under the surface as well that I think that's starting to boil. And we also have Mt. Gox kind of looming in the near future. And I think when those two things kind of collide or intersect in time, I think we're going to see a pretty big bloodbath, like Jake was saying, and like K4K was saying as well. I think it's inevitable.
I guess the one question I have is, do we know? Does anybody know? Is the Mt. Gox, are they just returning the Bitcoin to the holders, or are they going to sell it and give the holders USD or whatever variation of fiat back? And if that's the case, are they going to do an OTC sale or are they going to do a market sale? I mean, those are some of the things I would like to learn more about. Does anybody know?
I don't.
I'm not sure on the details of what they're doing, but they do call it, what did it say in that paper? Repayment. So I'm not sure if they only settle in USD or not, but I know the last time they sold, like, what is it, 40,000 Bitcoin and 40,000 Bitcoin Cash, that crushed the market. That was like the top of the last cycle in 2017. It was like, oh, lots of selling. Because a lot of people were like, oh, it's going to be priced in, like it's already priced in. But when those coins, if they're actually getting market sold, that affects the price.
Oh, yeah.
So unless the stuff gets OTC bought and then where everyone's like, oh, there's none to be sold, then maybe we'll go up. But that would be a big buyout. Like there's like 3 billion, or maybe they'll get some discount for OTC or something. But yeah, I don't know.
Now, is OTC, that's not on chain, is it? How does that work? Does anybody know?
Usually escrowed. Usually.
You said it's escrowed?
That's usually what they do. Yeah.
And also something not a lot of people are talking about, except for Richard Hart, is a GBTC discount. I mean, why would you buy $3 billion of Bitcoin over the counter if you can get it at a 30% discount with GBTC? The grayscale. I mean, Richard makes up a good point where the bull market can essentially not start as long as that discount is that low. Because why would institutions or big players buy on the market if they can get it minus 30%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Disincentivizing that.
Bitcoin is so doomed.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. So I'm of the mindset of just let this market collapse already. Just pull the band-aid so we can kind of have some bottom formation and get it over with instead of this slow bleed out, man. Yeah. And especially with the Fed raising the interest rates, I could see a bottom forming like 3 to 6 months from now, because also 1 year, 259 days, we have the next Bitcoin halving, and usually a year before the Bitcoin halving. bottoms start forming. You should look at it on a chart. So we have kind of the 3 to 6 month thing with the Fed and interest rates. Then you have the Bitcoin halving a year before, usually as the bottom of the market. Roughly, this is not super accurate. But yeah, those two things forming, I could see more blood coming, which means more opportunity. Because you're not going to escape it anyway. You might as well use it to better yourself instead of just, kind of becoming depressed.
Yeah. Well said.
Yep.
Aren't we all glad as sacrificers to lock in our sold coins into infinite liquidity, because at the sacrifice phase everyone gets the same amount. You're not like pushing the price against yourself. How amazing.
Dude.
What a genius.
It's like,
I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Like,
yeah, couldn't be more thankful right now.
Sacrifices saved us. It's crazy.
Yep.
It's almost like he knew what he was doing.
It's almost
it's almost like he knew what he was doing.
And watch it accidentally launch at the bottom of the bear market, even though he's not timing it. It's going to be like, oh yeah, oopsie, I did it again.
Isn't that a Britney Spears song? Did you just quote Britney Spears?
I did it again. Oh man.
Good point.
Okay, now we need to get a video of Richard twerking to "Oops, I Did It Again." That would just be sweet. Oh my God, that's a great video idea. We called the tap twice. Oops, I did it again. Okay.
More twerking.
Oh my God.
More twerking. Right. Anybody in chat that can make a video of Richard twerking to "Oops, I Did It Again," you'll be my hero. All right, let's give the crowd what they want, guys. 72 people in chat. Thank you very much for being here. It is a good day for sure. Lots of people. We got Freedom for All. We got Twin Fam, PulseX gang. Let's give these people what they want, which is a little bit of hopium. It's always fun, but keep in mind, it's pluck from Ariel.
Nah, I know it exactly. Actually, I'm
okay. Well, maybe you'll be twerking.
You don't?
It again soon.
Who here knows the exact amount of X PulseX will make in the first year?
Definitely.
Yeah. Most conservative. So I'm going to
say yes.
Just yes.
Yeah.
Only exact guesses only.
Yep.
Jake, what do you think?
So one thing I'll say is, personally, I'm dollar cost averaging into PLSX for a very long time, and I'm also going to be reinvesting the PLSX yield back into PLSX. So I think it's going to be, extremely good. There's one guy I like. Speaking advertisement. There's one guy I like. His name is Dobgun Hexagon or Hexadian on YouTube, and he does math based on liquidity pools. And he kind of did it with the testnet size, which is like 600 million or whatever it might be. Who knows how accurate that is? But then the buyback and burn from PulseX alone would push it to like 29x in the first year without anybody buying or selling.
Say that again. You said it really fast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I talk hella fast. So 29x in the first year is like minimum, in my honest opinion. Because he kind of did
what volume?
Pool maths. I think it was like 30 to 50% of Uniswap, which is, I think that there is a reality where PulseX has more volume than Uniswap.
Even early on.
Not early on, later on.
Okay, because we're talking first year.
Yep.
So how long do you think it's going to take? Obviously, this is all guessing and not financial advice. I need to say that at least once during a stream. Or I should say NFA to confuse everybody that's new.
Yeah.
How long do you think it takes to get to that type of volume? K4K, let's ask you that one.
I know that Pancake and them, like they early on, they get this huge influx of like users and it's crazy volume trying to get the newest coins on the chain. They're like, whoa, gotta get in here, gotta buy large. Oh, it's going up, sell it. It's like tons of traders coming in, liquidity locusts coming in, doing lots of big swing trades and stuff. And so they got like billions in like just the first couple months, which is like crazy. Billions of like daily volume. They'd have days where it was crazy. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we had billions pretty soon as well, and it may taper off for a while. And I'm not sure how, like, what the market's gonna look like by the time we release, because we don't know when it's gonna release.
Right.
So that definitely plays into it. Like, if it's the bottom of the bear and it may be a little less explosive than back in the bull run whenever those ones were getting released. It was like releasing like almost early mid bull run is like ideal for growth. So they got like it. Pancake's gonna be like almost a whole cycle ahead in price appreciation and creating its own floors and stuff before PulseX and stuff. Because like time in the market is really way better than timing the market. So like the longer Like, why do you think Bitcoin, even though technology is worse than Ethereum, is up way more than Ethereum? Because it's been around almost twice as long, or more than twice as long. So getting out as soon as possible is why I still think Richard's right on that. People are like, oh yeah, wait several months to the bottom. No, it's just better to get out, because then you're just existing and you can start appreciating immediately. And there's only more people that can find out about it. So I think it's just better to release early. And yeah, billions, probably billions within at least a month, I would say. We'll see $1 billion volume day.
Within a month. Okay, that's cool. CryptoGRFX, what do you think for 1 year return?
Well, the one thing I didn't actually realize about PancakeSwap and how they had an influx for the trading initially, so that's great to know. I think, you know, just due to what you've said now and how the buy and burn obviously functions, plus just people hyping, just FOMOing in, finding out about it as price goes up, I think, you know, it's reasonable to think that it could do what Ethereum did in its first year, from its bottom to its top. And I think so that's around like a 50x-ish from its bottom to its top, wherever that is. So maybe, and that's its launch price, which I think I would love to hear what you guys think roughly PulseX is going to launch at, because I think that's more the, like, are we talking from sacrifice or from launch? Because that's another interesting thing to think about as well.
Are you talking about like returns?
Yeah, in the first year.
I think you can only talk about launch price at that point, because there's going to be a large percentage of people aping in at launch price that didn't get in on the sacrifice. So we can really only be talking launch price.
Right. Then I would say, yeah, I think actually, Jake, I think you're pretty close then, because let's say our dip is like at least 50%, somewhere around there, and we do an Ethereum run, then that would leave us 25 roughly X from launch. So I think it's kind of reasonable.
Here's something I'm thinking about right now. Like, think of all of the, you know, there's people in Hex with hundreds of millions of dollars of Hex and no way to get out because there's not much liquidity in Hex. You'd like wreck the price against yourself.
Yep.
But I'm thinking we're going to have hundreds of millions of liquidity of Pulse and PulseX that they can trade their Hex for. So those guys could cash out kind of through that, or at least get big allocations, because they can go into those other coins that they are getting in early. And it's basically like rolling over your gains into the next awesome thing.
Right.
And so that's probably where a large amount of volume will come from, at least for those pairs, because of all those people with hundreds of millions in Hex, and they don't want to exit through Hex. They want to just convert it. So
do you think that conversion is going to be done via PHEX or EHEX?
Both, which is all added volume to the exchange. Both are going to come over. So that's just double it, you know? So
one thing I'm curious about is there's been a lot of referencing to PancakeSwap or SushiSwap or some of the other things. The one thing that I think about is that, we'll use PancakeSwap for example, is that PancakeSwap launched onto a chain that had been around for a while. So there was already established coins. There was already a lot of known projects out there. So the volume could go up because all those coins already existed. PulseX is going to be launching at a very similar time to PulseChain, like exactly, where there's no projects yet. I mean, yeah, we know, all of us know of 100, 200 projects that are going to be launching at the same time. But does that equation affect how much swapping is happening early on, do you think? And did the question I just asked make any sense at all?
I mean, I think the DeFi nature was still new and just like started. So like, sure, BNB existed, but they didn't really have a chain for the longest time. Like, I'm pretty sure they've only had the chain for like 2 years now. I mean, I guess they technically had the BNB chain, which is just, it's like their centralized send BNB around or whatever. But the Binance Smart Chain was where they launched PancakeSwap, and they still just used the same old token that they had control of or whatever. So are you worried more or care more about the like Pancake, how it would affect that, because you care about PulseX in relation to
doing a comparison between launching on a chain that's also brand new at the same time versus launching on a chain that's somewhat established? Does that affect the volume early on? That was just a
yeah. Well, yeah, you know what? It may affect it because there was lots of people who did have like the main chains, gas coin already, and so it was easy transition. But I guess we're going to start with our sacrifice set. So you have to compare that starting set to everyone who held BNB. Probably how you do it to see like starting users.
Okay.
That's where you're trying to see how's our catapult going to look depending on how many starting people we got. Sacrifice set versus how many people held BNB and were savvy enough to use Binance Smart Chain, because that's also important, because pretty much everyone who sacrificed, most people I'd say are tech savvy enough because they had to actually use their own wallet and not just be on the Binance's website. That's a little more user friendly than being like in your wallet, sending something to an address. That's really using crypto, is sacrificing. But if you were just on Binance and you just held some BNB, are you really a DeFi user? Probably not. So you probably didn't you can't count all of those people. So you'd have to come up with your own parameters of what counts. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know the numbers on that.
Sure. Well, I mean, everybody's asking, so we're supposed to give very specific answers.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good thing to go. That's interesting to research, just how many starting, what did the numbers look like user wise for BNB start? I'm gonna write it down.
Now you've got your new video. See, this stream did equate to something positive.
And then to feel normal, just add some twerking in the middle.
Yeah, just sprinkle that in.
I just figured to make the entertaining videos during the bear market, because people just want to get away from thinking about money versus when it bottoms, it's gonna be great. Like everybody kind of already knows that, but people were just looking for an escape almost. And this is like entertainment. Everyone kind of knows the general. Once we get to the bull market, it's gonna be awesome. So I was just trying to try a different avenue of gaining attention and stuff. It's very important to keep growing.
Gotcha. So this is a one-word answer for everybody. What do you think happens first, PulseCon or PulseChain?
When is it?
PulseCon is in September, I believe.
Yeah, it's in September.
I don't know what it is. I have a weird gut feeling about September. I think something is going to happen in September, either testnet v3 or PulseChain. I have absolutely no technicalities or no logic behind this. It's just a gut feeling. And my gut feelings are usually accurate.
No shame in that.
Yep. But it will kind of be funny, PulseCon, it's not live yet, so we can say the same thing we've said forever.
Yep.
What do you think, CryptoGRFX?
Oh man, I think PulseCon's coming out first.
Yeah, I agree. K4K?
Let's see. We really haven't gotten more updates.
That's
sure.
Yeah,
it's they're refactoring the code. It's gonna be way better when they do that. So
okay, so Jake,
I don't know about dates, so not gonna.
But you have to pick something.
Exact answers.
Yeah, exact answers.
Crystal balls only.
I don't know. It's if you ask Richard enough times, he still doesn't tell you when it's coming out. So I'm not gonna. I just don't have a better feeling than Richard has more inside information, and he can't give us a good idea. So me saying something doesn't help anybody.
So based on that statement, Richard doesn't have any information. I'm going with PulseCon because we know for sure that that's happening.
Oh, so you're saying PulseCon first?
Yeah.
Man, I feel like if I say it, it makes it more likely to happen, and I don't want that to be the case. I'd rather it come out sooner. But I would probably at this moment probably PulseCon first. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I kind of want to wait until most of the blood is done. Even though, you're gonna have more time in market, but it doesn't 2 months is not really a lot more time in market. If we're talking about years, sure, but with the whole end of August, Mount Gox coins coming out.
Yeah, wait for that dump, then release it. I'm waiting to buy more stuff whenever we see that Bitcoin in half again. So and if Bitcoin's gonna drop in half, I wouldn't be surprised if Hex dropped too.
Oh yeah,
if that's what you're looking to buy before the fork. So that's what I'm waiting for anyway.
All right, that just answered a question that we had in chat: is do we all expect Hex to keep dropping, or at least stay somewhat in parity with Bitcoin if Bitcoin falls? So K4K, you say you believe it will.
If Bitcoin drops by half, and Hex goes up, I will be impressed. But
Same.
so
I don't really see
that's a lot of dropping, you know.
Yeah, I don't see a pump coming until there's some information about PulseChain.
Yep.
But when it comes, boy, be ready.
Oh
yeah. I hope everyone's got their stuff figured out and ready. I tried to make as many tutorial help you get ready with testnet videos as possible. You know, it's important to know that stuff so that you're not like wasting a whole day or two figuring out how to connect to the new blockchain. Very important to know how to do that so you don't miss out on days of either being staked in something or earning something. Because those early releases, like if there's PulseX staking for some coin and you're days late, you can miss out on like a lot of money. There's huge like
money
because you share it as in a pool with people. If you're the first guy in, you get 100% payout every block. It's huge, and our blocks are very fast. Getting paid every 3 seconds by yourself. Because I remember farming food coins back in 2020, and sometimes I'd be the first guy in to a farm, and you just get the full payout yourself. You're getting like thousands of coins per block, and then an hour later you're only getting like 10 coins. And so it's sometimes 100x difference how much free money you're getting just by being an hour faster. So it really does pay to practice on testnet.
Totally.
Nice. We got some nice feedback here from Freedom for All that this is this crew has to stay together and do regular meetings. Well, if we could get Colton to stop, traveling.
Hey, he's traveling and twerking. He's busy. Leave the man alone.
Yeah, right.
After this next trip, I should be back to making some more regular content. That's the goal. So,
awesome.
And that's a week from now. I'm leaving. I was going to leave today, but we're leaving tomorrow now. So.
Gotcha.
I'm making the announcement. K4K is the reason I actually started my channel.
Whoa.
Nice.
Really? Nice.
I was watching.
Was it because my content was lame and you had to update the?
All right, hold my beer. Hold my beer.
Giving us a bad rap. I gotta come out and say something.
No, I was watching your videos, and you have a very similar mind to me, and so does Gerardo. And I was like, so I was watching Gerardo, and then all of a sudden you came on the scene, and I was like, people seem to react very well to our types of perspectives and ways of viewing the market, and I was like. Because I was making excuses, I wanted to do it after PulseChain launches, but I'm like, what is the difference? And then I just it snapped, and then I started my channel, and now we are here on stream.
Isn't it so much better to like? I started because I was like, I have all these thoughts in my head, and I feel like the community could value, or could gain a lot of value from me sharing it, and then they would tell me, like, if I'm wrong about something, then I have thousands of people who can be like, yo, no, this is the real information, and then it saves me having to go single out all this information. So it's like I learn, they learn, we all get wealthier together. So it just seemed like the way to go. It's like I could have just kept this all to myself and not told anyone how awesome PulseX is going to be.
Right.
Because everyone thought it was like the third worst coin. They were like, oh man, Richard just threw this out there to get more people to sacrifice, and I'm like, this is looking like my favorite. Nobody else thought that at the time. Now everyone thinks it's gonna be really good. So
which we get feedback from the community here from Chris Crypto. Thank you for being here. All these guys understand PulseX really, I'm gonna say well, because I think that sounds a little bit better.
Really good.
Hey, look at this. We got our first super chat. Look at this. Thank you. Of course, I wish I knew how to put it up on the screen, but there we go. Some Canada banks and phones down. A little sampling of the crash, i.e. the Great Reset. Ooh, that's bad news.
Ruh-roh. That's affecting me, maybe.
I was just gonna say CryptoGRFX.
This is the last time we hear from CryptoGRFX, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, totalitarianism time.
As he's starting to glitch out, they're also shutting down the internet.
Everyone, I'm sorry. If you said anything, you guys all broke up so bad there. I couldn't hear a word you said.
Oh, yeah, we're losing him.
Oh man,
it's happening. It's happening.
Oh, we love you. Bye.
It's like Back to the Future. You're just gonna start fading in the picture.
Oh my god.
All right. So before the government comes in and swoops you away, CryptoGRFX, let's hear about some of this information you've been gathering on Hedron. You've got a lot of info. You've got a lot of people interested in what do you have to say. I'm going to try to tease a little bit out of you here before you get into your video. So hit us with the good news.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really did. I thought Hedron was like cool when I first learned about it because it's like it's built on Hex. It's like at free money, and I kind of just left it at that. But then I started hearing from guys like Wales and a couple other guys over the last number of weeks and month or so that there was this point that maybe Hedron was undervalued. I was like, well, what? What is it? How could that even be possible? And so I started looking at the math of, what makes that statement possible. And it turns out there's an arbitrage point between Hedron and Hex where an HSI allows a user to borrow Hedron, and Hedron is actually more valuable than the HSI. And then it allows Hedron to then pull the price up of Hex. And it's actually not that far away. We're about a 62x away in price from Hedron from that arbitrage point. And so that alone was really interesting. And knowing that because both the B share and the T share are increasing in difficulty over time. And then as price appreciates, that's kind of like exponentially increasing the difficulty there. And Hedron's ability to be minted is based off of the T share and the B share rate. Then Hedron over time gets more and more difficult, kind of like Bitcoin's supply inflation. Over time, Bitcoin supply inflation gets more and more difficult to mine. And that's kind of how Hedron is over time. Obviously, that fluctuates because Hedron has both inflationary mechanics and deflationary mechanics. But even just knowing that, I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And now it turns out Alex has been building this whole platform for staking Hedron to earn a secondary token, which is called Icosa. And you can then take that Icosa and you could stake that to earn both Hedron and Icosa. And there's a one-time pool where, so normally there's the HSI, which can be created into an NFT to then be sent around to wallet. But there is another NFT that is coming out with this, and it is a one-time use NFT. What you can do is kind of like a sacrifice, but not a sacrifice. You send in funds, USDC, ETH, Maxi, Hedron, PLSD. There's a few others. You send this into the contract, and every dollar gets a point. And that point is included into the NFT that you mint. And that NFT with the points is your share of a one-time pool. And over the course of the lifetime of that pool, so that pool pays out in Icosa. It gets the same amount of Icosa per day as the Icosa pool.
Why did he call it Icosa?
So if you look at Hedron, the full geometric shape of Hedron is an Icosa Hedron.
Okay.
And it's a really cool 3-dimensional geometrical shape. But that's the whole thing. So Icosa or Hedron. And so in this pool, when you want your yield, you can stay in for as long as you like. There's no time limit for this. You have to burn your NFT. When you burn your NFT, you cash out all your yield that you've earned to date, and you increase everyone else's payout in the pool. Over time, this is like a last man standing game. And it's going to be super interesting to get free Hedron, which gives you free Icosa, which you could then also get into the NFT pool. And if you want to get Icosa before getting into before anyone else, you can sell an HSI buyback to the smart contract, which then
dude, this is so complicated.
Oh, dude,
it's ridiculous.
I'm telling you, I have been
Rube Goldberg machine I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I was just about to say it sounds like a Rube Goldberg machine.
Dude, I have been in the Telegram chat for
days. Then you can stake that for this, and then you can stake that for this. You can stake that for this. It's like,
so
why?
Just being honest, not fun. The thing that I'm worried about when it comes to Hedron is the infinite free claim. Because we essentially have massive whales who have a 10x multiple on their free claim who can essentially dump it into infinity for the next 15 years.
Well, the problem with that argument now is that if someone wants to dump it into infinity, they have to move the price into infinity based on the liquidity right now. And so there's no way for a whale to actually move the price against Hedron without nuking themselves in the process. So even one time
nuking themselves.
Well, the whole price of Hedron. If you want to dump enough now that gets you a substantial amount of money, like more than $10,000. A $10,000 buy or sell moves the price less than 5 to 10%. Like it's
that illiquid? Wow.
It's that illiquid. It's crazy.
That's and like so a lot of slippage for 10K.
It's yes, exactly. And so
they can just set a limit order and you're not moving past it ever.
Right. Or they could provide liquidity in a certain position, just like a one-sided, and they could kind of cash out that way. But even that being said, like the whole way, this idea of whales dumping the price into infinity, like most of the whales are already out. Most of these whales are
I don't know,
almost
because
gone.
they can mint it. They can mint it
there's-
forever because Hedron gets generated forever.
Yes, but how many of those stakes are forever stakes or 15-year stakes that have 10x bonus?
I don't know. Because that's the thing I'm most worried about. Because look at Bitcoin Cash.
Yep.
That got wrecked because of
Right.
all those T claims.
Right.
All the copies.
Right.
Because they forked Bitcoin. Yeah, that's the thing I'm worried about.
Right. Well, the thing is there's many. So Hedron has similar mechanics as far as like, you know, how we measure supply holders as far as like squids, dolphins, sharks, whales. And there are only, I think, a handful of whales. The majority of previous whales are already out. And if they ever want to get their position back, they have to spend an unholy amount of money in order to get their position back. Yeah. And the ones that are still around have ceased dumping. And so really, I mean, obviously the free mint into the future is potentially something to be of concern. But the thing is, that's going to change over time because those people may end. Like the thing is, there's factors, right? So that person can end their stake early. They could lose the address for some reason. They could just never sell. I mean, they could stake that. Like what? Especially now, knowing that there is. Imagine holding Hex, right? And then the staking idea comes out afterwards.
5 bottoms ago.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Hedron crushes it. Maybe the 6 other tokens you can get crush it.
6 other tokens.
I try. I mean, on my channel, people ask like, why don't I promote like anything else other than like Richard coins? I don't know. That guy has the most resources behind him to make sure the code is as good as possible. And when you're investing money, you might as well put it with where it's going to be treated best. So if it has higher chance of being rug pulled somewhere else, not that I'm saying they will, like they can try as hard as they can, but they're not going to have the resources behind it as Richard and his team.
Of course.
So I trust his code more than anyone else's code. And if it's going to do amazing his stuff already, I don't try risking with other stuff. If they give free stuff, maybe I'll claim it. But
right,
it's like, why would I risk it over there when I can get Pulse and PulseX?
You kind of brought up an interesting point that helped me kind of onboard people. It's essentially, I think he said it in a live, no, not a live stream, like a video. And you essentially put it like this: when you can choose between teams, wouldn't you choose a team that is optimizing for price performance and your bag going up?
Yeah, that's what
you were like, Richard is the only person that Richard and his team are the only people who are like, yo, in crypto, the only thing that matters is store of value, and store of value is essentially price up. And that's what they focus on. Wouldn't you want to focus on that team? Yeah. I think that's a super strong frame.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I think there's nothing wrong with that mindset. I think that also, though,
you can always throw like a couple bucks at it, but it's weird. I don't know. I haven't fully figured out my moral standing ground of like, because you can give people all the warnings in the world, but if you're the person that they heard it from, and then they went in and got it in, even if they put a little bit, and then it grows to a lot, and then it gets rug pulled, they still lost money because they heard it from you. I don't know how I feel about that. I have the most faith in Richard stuff, so that's why I like that stuff.
Well, let me Monday morning quarterback that statement, because there's 2 sides to that argument. The other side of that argument is, what if you knew about it, you put in a little bit of money to it, and it did go to the moon, and it was legit, and then your family, friends, followers are like, well, dude, why didn't you tell us about that? We would have gone into it. We could have made a lot of money.
Well, you can say that about anything. Nah.
Well, exactly. So it's just, I mean, sometimes an abundance of caution is better than not. But
yeah, I think that like the way I'm handling this is like, you know, I'm kind of thinking of it as like, okay, look, there is potentially a million fires coming to PulseChain. Right? There's a million different things that are going to be going on both on Ethereum and PulseChain. And I would rather, you know, bring this all out, expose everything about it, look at it, figure out the game theory, figure out everything about it and put it out in the open. So people are more educated to, you know, not be like, why didn't you tell me about it in the back of their mind, and then go and look at it themselves, not do the proper research or not know how to research it properly even, and break it down in a way that they know how to see if it's safe or not. So the way I'm kind of looking at this is, especially because I know we haven't gone into the mechanics, and I'm telling you, the amount I've written on this and the amount I've like done research, Hedron Lycosa directly supports Hex in ways that won't be seen at first. It will take a little while for these ramifications to fully catch up and for everything to catch up to where it needs to be. But once it does, it's like adding 1,000 horsepower to, or well, let's say a few hundred horsepower to Hex, you know, in its ability to move upward. And so I personally think that's a great idea. I love the fact that Richard Hart has come out and stated and made very good and talked very well of Hedron and the code and Alex's work, that I think, that is a testament to Alex's ability to continue that work into the future of Icosa and this whole staking platform and the game theory. Because honestly, if you guys love game theory, you should look into this, because this will bend your mind in ways you've not thought crypto could do. It's insane. It's so much fun.
I know, but I'm not sure if that is a good thing. You know what I mean?
It's stacking it's stacking your risk, because if Hex fails, well, then you super failed with Hedron, So I don't like stacking risk when you don't have to. It's like these gains are gonna be massive from Hex, PulseX, from the guy with the strongest team. Why go for the thing that's built on top with extra risk? I don't think it's necessary to risk it.
I guess that goes back to your comment about the two things. One is like, you're obviously not staking everything on it, and you're putting in enough.
You don't know what people will do. They're like, oh, this is my chance to get more gains. They put all of it in. I know how these people work. I was here in 2017. I remember investing. It's like, oh, I'll get into these coins that are not Bitcoin because they seem to go up more. Okay. And then they either don't work out or, more problems.
Right. Well, and on the flip side of the other part of your argument that you're saying too, like, what are the chances that Hex actually fails? Like, within all reasonable logic.
I was just using that to say that you're stacking risk if you're in something that's on top of Hex. So
I see what you're saying. Totally.
Yeah. Totally. I'm not saying it's like bad to talk about it. I haven't fully thought like how I feel about it yet, because I don't know.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, because I was just on a stream at Cory Costa like 10 minutes before this one, and I like his channel because he gives voices to the voiceless, and he just brings on other projects on PulseChain, and of course you can add disclaimers to it. But the kind of example I like using is like, you can give people like liquid loans, for example. Liquid loans is a knife, and you can use a knife to feed your family, or you can use a knife to slit your wrists. It's not the knife's fault that you use it to offline yourself. So I'm a very big believer in personal responsibility.
Yeah, I could just leave it to everyone's personal responsibility and talk about
every coin out there. Yeah, but not that. So it's stuff that you research.
I don't know. I guess I just feel most confident. Like, anyone I put towards Hex, Pulse, or PulseX, very confident, because I'm in those as well. So if I'm going down with the ship. So yeah, if you feel good about it, that's fine.
All right, guys, I want to call something out here, and I don't know what happened to the comment. I feel kind of bad, but first of all, we're at 110 viewers. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We got a 1999 super chat from Roof Dog.
Billionaire, please. Richard Hart has competition, baby.
Yeah, and I don't know, it just disappeared. I feel bad about that.
Oh yeah, it was in the chat.
Yeah, maybe
he said thank you.
Super chat got rugged.
Oh, was that the guy he was saying something about he got a hardware wallet?
No. So his name is it was him. I can see it. Roof Dog 1999. He says, I just want to say thanks, guys. I have learned a lot, much from all of you. You guys are so valuable to this community.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I cannot find it. It disappeared.
Oh, that guy.
Yep.
Yeah. See, like, that was like one of my I'm most proud of that video, I think, because like, people are getting hacked left and right. They needed a video to save them, and that one helped a lot of people protect their crypto, stop using a hot wallet, keep your keys offline. I even edited that one. I hate editing. Tried to get it down as short as I could. I even cut out the ums. Most of them anyway.
Professional.
So I can't remember which one of you said it. Maybe it was you, CryptoGRFX, but one of you mentioned the importance of doing your own research. And I think a lot of people, including myself, still don't fully understand how to do in-depth research on a product. So I would encourage all of you that might be more advanced at this than myself during this bear market to make videos on how to thoroughly research cryptos and projects and make sure people aren't getting hurt. Because I would personally watch that and be appreciative of it. And I'm sure there's a lot of content out there, but I trust you guys. And I think that would be a huge value to the community. If anybody else agrees with that, put that in the chat.
a video on how to do proper research, yeah, you could probably point out like lots of important things to look for that you think like for a project. You can basically just go over why is Hex a good investment is basically how to do your own research. It's like, how's the website? Do they explain everything? Can you read the code in layman's terms? You can with Hex. You can see what every function does. If they just release a code and website and you can't even like say it's not verified on like Etherscan and stuff like that, and you have to use the website, that's a risk because you don't know what the front end is sending to you. So there's lots of different things. Probably not a bad idea for a video.
That's a great
I mean,
idea.
there's that's kind of surface stuff, but then I know a lot of people look actually into the the OA wallets, and they look into the whales, and they look into who's buying and where is it going, and all of this type of stuff.
I have a very simple way of looking at crypto. I just look at supply and demand. I don't like inflationary tokens. I mean, look at the sell. Look at the amount of sell pressure. Tokens. Yeah, Hex
they're like all inflationary.
No, PulseX isn't. PulseChain isn't.
They're not out yet.
Yeah, I know. So okay, I like asking this question. Do any of you know the inflation rate of Avalanche?
Oh,
I
don't.
No, actually. Your head.
AVAX?
Yeah, it's 26%. Did you know that?
Ooh, really?
Who's it go to?
I don't know.
That's important too. Like it can inflate like heck, but if you're getting it, like that's fine.
Yeah, and Richard also has this argument that okay, in the most inflationary periods, then you usually has the most price appreciation because it's a newer project. I just don't like the fact of inflation because it's essentially constant sell pressure on the price. I like the model of PulseX a lot more when you get rewarded in other tokens. I mean, okay, so
PulseX crushes everything in my opinion.
It's crazy.
You don't have to convince me.
Yeah, we're bulls here.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go on, Jake.
So I don't like inflationary tokens unless it's like in Hex where inflation goes to stakers to protect the price, because that has a use for the national inflation and stuff like that. But inflationary tokens is one. Usually the tokenomics, because what a lot of these projects do, like PancakeSwap, for instance, they had like 200% inflation, if not more, in the beginning, and they were rewarding like stakers like 80% to 100% a year, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm making 80 to 100%, but you're getting diluted 200%. So the math doesn't even make sense, and you get people dumping on your head into infinitum.
Pumped though, which is crazy because imagine PulseX, not even inflating at all, same stuff with a better buy and burn. Oh my! Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I also
well said.
Oh boy, we got the first K4K laugh.
So the other thing is also I don't like projects that have anonymous founders, not because the projects are inherently bad. Because of my psychology and background and my background in psychology and identity work, it's just if people are afraid to put their name behind something, it's usually not very good. And if things go bad, they don't have any skin in the game to reinforce. I usually 80% of the time, if not more, it's just a rug pull if they have an anonymous team. So statistically, you're going to get wrecked.
Yep.
And this is not an attack on specific projects. Just anonymous founders are a massive red flag for me personally, because I'd rather make a little bit of money than lose all of my money.
Sorry, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Wrecked.
So in the last Twitter space, Richard Hart essentially said that I like the frame that's thinking of Bitcoin as just another shitcoin.
No, I love that too, dude. I picked that up. He's framed that so well. It's like it's just so old that everyone forgot it was a shitcoin. I'm like, wait, that's the truth.
That's so
holy moly, best way to frame it. I love that. It's so old. Everyone forgot.
Real quick, Davis, super chat, $5. Thank you very much. We appreciate your generosity. He seconds, we need a video teaching on how to do on-chain analysis. So I think there's some thirst here for you guys that are good at this. And I'll give an example, a cautionary tale. One of the things you just said, Jake, I personally fell for, and that is, I agree. I don't like anonymous, developers or creators or anything like this. And I think being in front of the limelight is important, like Richard is, like some of the other, I can't think of the Cardano guy, but he's always out there and his project hasn't rugged. But hey, I fell subject to Celsius, guys. I did. I believed in Mashinsky. I watched all their AMAs. I didn't know how to do in-depth enough research to
see that it was admin keys.
Look at what was going on in the background to realize I was, as Richard says, picking up pennies in front of freight trains. I lost my ass. I did.
I love that saying.
So
yeah, that's a good one.
I think the community needs this. And Crypto Heartbeat gives us a super chat. Thank you, buddy. We got K4K is alive. Yes. It took me no less than 20 messages plus some threatening letters in the mail and stuff like that to get him here, but we got him here. He's back.
I kept getting weird knocks on my door. I was like, all right, I'll get on stream.
I wore my Scream mask, but he's too young to know what the movie Scream is, so it didn't work.
Oh yeah, another thing you were talking about anonymous founders. You're like not a fan of them. Yeah. Anyway, so because if they're afraid of showing their face, it's probably because it's either security or they're doing work, to be a security. Because usually they have admin keys and they're like, we'll do this thing, and they have these little buttons they press where they can move where the coins go, or they're doing some algorithm, or they can update the algorithm that it's doing. If they can update the algorithm, they can take all the money. And there's lots of things in crypto that are like that. They're like, oh, you earn interest because we lend it out and then we do this. Sometimes we change the strategies though. And that means that they're going in and changing the code. It could just be send it all to this address. And there's tons of crypto like that. And they're like, oh, we got all these signers and developers who have, some of them do have they're named people in the space, but that is like what's it called? Yiffy Wi-Fi? I forget how you say it anymore. Like they have stuff like that with strategies, and they can just take all the money. It's crazy.
And move it around. It's like the nut under the cup game. Where is it today? Where is this? And you got to be good at.
And some of the stuff becomes deprecated, and so you could be in something and you think is DeFi, and then they're like, well, we're going to update the code here, so if you don't migrate, your coins are just sitting there, and you hope it doesn't get hacked in the future. They're not going to keep updating it. You have to go manually pull out your stuff. So it comes back to what Richard framed really well, is like default dead or default alive. Hex is never going to stop, and the code's always going to work. So it's not like, oh, it's deprecated, we have to move on to this other contract, or you're not going to get any interest. It just works always. 100% uptime, multiple years, hasn't had to be changed. It just works great. I don't know why everybody in crypto hates on it so much. They just don't like that a guy founded it who I guess is audacious or something.
Well, I think it comes back to just like the lack of research everyone knows how to do. People don't actually know how to research a human being and see what people are saying about him and if it's true. Like the fact that the spam king argument's still a thing, the fact that it's just almost laughable to me at this point that these arguments are still floating around. It's a testament to I think the need for this whole conversation. And
it shows how early we are. There's still people who think that he's a spam king and a scammer, and he's not. He's just the best businessman ever.
Dude, the thing with the spam king,
and then everybody thinks he's scamming. It's like
he had to pay $500 for that crazy good marketing scheme.
Super successful guy decides to turn crypto, and he crushes that too. And people are surprised. They're like trying to find a reason it shouldn't work, and he's just telling them the truth the whole time. All right,
yeah,
that's
crazy.
That's when you found something great. When there's still tons of people who think it's crap, but you see it working.
Yep. Yeah, I think the degree you see people hate something is the degree at which you're early. Yeah. Everyone hated Ethereum when it came out because Bitcoiners were mad. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I think everything is going to flip once PulseChain goes live.
What do you mean by everything, though?
When it comes to Richard Hart's reputation, I mean,
I think it'll definitely go up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because Hex you can kind of put off into a corner and ignore because it's a dApp on a blockchain, but a freaking L1 you cannot ignore, dude.
That's
and if it runs well, it's like
you can't
hate the guy, but man, you have to look at this PulseChain thing. Jesus Christ!
All the influencers are in.
Yep.
And if they aren't in yet, they're buying our bags.
What about BitBoy's on-screen flip of liking Richard Hart? I thought that was pretty interesting. I wonder what
he's been saying that for a while. I mean, he's been
is that who you said?
Yep.
He's like, I love Richard Hart. It's like, all right, one of the biggest guys in crypto is now saying like Richard Hart publicly, like not like a quick side note. He took the time to say that and mean it.
It did make me laugh though, because he said, I'm sorry, I unapologetically.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you Canadian, brother?
Oh, I love this. So this is another comment to what we were talking about. Hexacano Scotty. Most common advice, do your own research. Nobody knows how to. I think we're onto something here, guys.
I mean, most people do their own research, but
they're bad at it
enough.
Well, that's the thing is like people say, I do agree people should be held, for their own whatever choices they make are their own. But the reality is, a lot of people watch a YouTube video and then they go buy or something. Like, that's just the reality. And I wish it was the other way. Like, oh, they did their own research because I told them to, and then they get good results. But usually, it depends who they find. If they find a good person who's giving good advice, then they get good results. But if they find a bad person, they get bad results because they're not either. Lots of people aren't doing the right research, or they just don't know how. So, yeah, I guess if I did a super in-depth dive into these other coins and I was just as confident, then I'd be just as confident sharing that with people, because I would feel like, man, if this rugs, I would be insanely surprised.
Yep. I think it's almost like, go, because there's so many layers to this too. It's like you could research a single crypto and learn how to do that, but then it's like, okay, well, how much do you actually understand blockchain and the whole technology underlying it? And maybe even in the markets, because you need to understand why it's important or not, or like how does the product actually fit. And, it's like the research is so deep. And I think one of the things that if anyone's watching this, the takeaway should be these things take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And you got to understand that going in, you're going to have to put in some work to get to where you want to be, where you can take a day or two and fully understand something completely and know, or however much time it takes, and know exactly what you're looking at and what you're reading. It's just going to take time. It's inevitable. It needs time to sink in.
Yep.
New industry, new technology.
Yep.
Gotta learn it if you want to do well, I guess. It's the best thing financially for you.
Yeah. And I keep repeating this thing on my channel, and it helps people kind of understand, like, crypto is a game of precision, not about speed.
Yep.
And it's so important because the human ego constantly wants to work to make money. So the reason people go into trading is because they cannot accept the fact that they're making money by doing nothing. So they subconsciously constantly self-sabotage themselves. Like, I'm not doing any work, yet I'm making money. I do not deserve this because I did not do work. And it's because they do not understand investing.
They're going to hate the Federal Reserve then. Do no work, make money out of thin air, loan it out, like loaning out made up money. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love how you put it. It's like a permanent. What do you say? It's like an infinite inflation bug.
It is infinite inflation bug.
That's hilarious.
No one would choose it. If you could choose the current fiat system as a crypto, it was just a crypto choice, everyone would be like, lol, that's a scam. We don't want that.
That's a rug pull.
Yeah. But we don't. If no one would vote for it, why do we still have it?
So speaking of in-depth research, Jake, you know a lot about coding, the Golang or whatever the new language is, what's going on behind PulseChain. Help some of us understand that a little better. Let's take a couple minutes here and listen to your side of the research on PulseChain.
You mean Golang specifically, the thing that they're doing now?
No, just whatever. I mean, whatever you think is of value to the community.
So
Why are you okay? Let me rephrase this into a more exciting question. That was really boring.
Well, I want to be excited.
Why are you so excited about PulseChain that you decided to come out of basically the woodwork and turn on fire on Twitter and on YouTube and just say, this is the greatest thing in the world. I couldn't be more excited. I'm making so much content because PulseChain is the way. Tell us.
Yeah. So
hold on, pause. You need to be way more excited in your answer.
Oh my God.
No, that's a good question. So essentially, I love the idea of PulseChain because it's the world's largest airdrop. It has the PulseX, which is going to be the world's largest yield farm. It's going to have built-in users, one of the strongest communities in crypto from the actual start, one of the strongest price floors in crypto because of the sacrifice phase.
Yep.
Yep. PulseX has a massive buyback and burn, which is the only deflationary token that has buyback and burn. It's founded by Richard Hart, which is only right. Try finding something the guy is wrong about.
Best founder.
Yeah,
that's the perk of your crypto. It's like, we have best founder. Yep. Who else can say that? Yep. Mashinsky's hiding.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that PulseChain can genuinely rival Ethereum. Based on the initial community that we have, the initial sacrifice set. Blockchain spend a hell of a lot of money just getting the sacrifice set. The number of people in the sacrifice set that are actively going to be using the blockchain, you should know how much marketing money goes into achieving that user base for a new blockchain. It's also going to, so this is something nobody actually talks about. And I mentioned it on a couple of streams, but because you get the everybody gets their back copied over. Now, back in the day, tokens would launch with like a 20% team supply. Well, those tokens get copied over as well. So let's say you have like $100 million market cap project on Ethereum, and now it gets copied over to PulseChain, and you essentially have 20% of the tokens over there. So if you choose to support it, that is potentially $20 million sitting there if you just allow one setting on your website to switch over from networks.
Yeah,
I mean, that's very little work for $20 million.
Yes, this is hopium right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. No, I love it though.
No, that's legit.
Blockchain adoption comes from devs building on it, because devs building on it create projects, and projects create marketing, and marketing attracts users. So if you go back down to the devs are going to make a hell of a lot of money supporting blockchain. So I think PulseChain can genuinely rival Ethereum because of that fact alone.
Yep, they're getting incentivized to adopt.
Crazy, right?
We're like, you're paying them to come over.
Yep.
It'd
be weird and almost like dumb of them not to at this point, understanding what's coming. It would make no sense.
Yeah, and then the only thing that would stop them
not to come over.
Exactly.
Yes, and then the only thing that will stop them is the Richard Hart reputation. But a lot of these big influencers sacrifice, and they're probably going to talk very good about Richard Hart, and that is potentially going to change their mind.
Yeah, that narrative's going to shift. I mean, there's enough happening right now that's like it's inevitable. That domino's waiting to fall.
The scale is awesome in my mind, just because it affects every crypto user. Like, what crypto user only uses Binance Smart Chain? Almost nobody. Everyone started on Ethereum. So it's basically every crypto user has money over here. It's honestly the best thing ever. You can see Richard get excited about it when he thinks about it. He's like, I'm excited about it, dude. This is like the biggest thing in crypto to happen. And then we have like PulseX, which is just awesome on its own, and it's gonna be just day one with it. It's the biggest like 1-2 punch ever. And one of the other cool things is, like you were saying, it may even rival Ethereum, but we've seen that like it's kind of like we're like just growing this huge pie of people joining crypto, which just makes everyone wealthier in crypto, because most of it's paper gains anyway, because people just hold their wealth in it because it seems to go up versus inflation over time. So it's a great place to keep your money. And we don't even have to like overtake Ethereum to be insanely successful, because the pie is already so big.
Well said.
So here, this will be a fun one right here. We just got we've got a lot of people in the chat. We're up to we hit 130 a couple minutes ago. That's the most I've ever had on one of my streams. So I think they're here to see you guys, not me. So I thank you all for being here. I genuinely appreciate y'all. Let's have a little crap talking here. This is going to be fun, because I know that two of y'all in this stream are a little bit polar in which one you think is going to do better. So we get this: Pulse will outperform PulseX. Ooh, that's like saying yo mama to K4K. So,
I mean, I don't know.
Right, here it comes, liquidity pools.
Yeah.
So
So
liquidity pool.
let's talk about this, because right now in testnet, I believe Pulse is winning, but PulseX has the buy and burn based on liquidity and volume. So this is going to be a fun conversation. CryptoGRFX, let's hear what your thought is.
Well, the one thing is it's tough with the statement because there's no time restraints on this.
Great
statement.
question.
So
3 years. Let's just call it 3 years.
Yeah. If it's 3 years, I think that personally, I really think that PulseX is the 3-year token. I think that Pulse is the long-term token. I think that.
Oh,
yeah, I think
3 years is long term.
What did I?
In crypto, it is.
Okay,
That's
okay, yeah.
Years, dude.
It is. Okay, I'm thinking the time frame of your hex stake finally expires. You know, right?
Yeah, okay.
Right. So, in that frame, I think PLS obviously will be. It's the L1. It's the backbone of the whole ecosystem. And at some point, the whole buy and burn, if PulseX reaches a certain price, you know, that's going to mitigate the amount of buy and burn. There are dollars that actually impact the price, because every dollar is basically impacting less over that buy and burn. So I think that over time, that PLSX buy and burn is going to plateau a bit, but that's going to take a while. I think the first 3 years are going to be money for that. And PLS is going to kind of slowly just have its cycles, but it'll continuously go up as the chain itself improves in value.
I think the only thing that can beat, like, have you guys seen the video I made on like the wallet potential?
I did actually.
Yes.
That's a great video.
Because that thing could scale across every blockchain and get revenue from all trades, no matter what they're trading on. They can use any DEX they want, any chain they want, and it can be earning huge percent. Like MetaMask does like an 8.875% fee, service fee, on top of whatever other fees you're paying on the DEX. Like it's not included in that or anything.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't included in the question, though.
Well, I'm gonna get back to that.
Okay, just want to make sure we're saying on track.
So, like the wallet could, I think that scales even more than like our DEX, like the PulseX DEX, because it reaches it's chain agnostic, it's DEX agnostic, and you can make way more percent because it's easier for people to use to trade out of the wallet than knowing the right website to go to get the best trading. They just use the wallet, and so they're making like $200,000 a day on like 50 million in volume, which is like crazy. And so that's the only thing that I think of, like PulseX isn't the ultimate buyback and burn coin, is because it's only for the Pulse chain. If it can somehow scale to more than just the Pulse chain, like somehow can be accessed other chains or something, then it'd be like unstoppable. But as of right now, I guess we just have the biggest thing for Pulse versus PulseX in my mind is the liquidity. And if there's way more liquidity for Pulse, it's going to be harder to move it. Even if it has more people who want to buy it, there's just way more liquidity because of the basically everything that ETH is tied to currently, Pulse is going to be tied to and have tons and tons and tons of liquidity because that all gets copied over and put into PulseX. So there's going to be so much Pulse chilling in PulseX, and people are going to be incentivized into the Pulse pairs. And then PulseX, there's no copied over Pulse or anything like that. So I don't know if you need like 10 times more buy pressure or something to move Pulse than PulseX, but it's definitely more than Pulse needs or PulseX needs.
I don't know. Because when it comes to the liquidity pools, if you look on the testnet, PulseX has 1.8 billion and PulseChain has 2.7 billion. Here's my reasoning behind it. So I think the liquidity pools also have to do with how big the sacrifice set was. And the sacrifice set for PulseX was 3.2 times. No, actually, no. I think it was like 1.5.
I think it was closer to 2, wasn't it? Or no, not quite 2. Yeah, it was like...
Yeah, without the OA.
Well, there's not every pair on the PulseX deck, really. It's like they only show like 8.
Yeah, true. But you also have to kind of keep the liquidity into account with the initial sacrifice set, because otherwise a very large percentage of the sacrifice set could wreck the price with a small liquidity pool. It's something to take into consideration. So with these sacrifice sets, you have everybody that buys in at the same price. So if you have a very small liquidity pool, like with Hex, you could create a scenario where a lot of people have a lot of power and they could wreck the price if the liquidity pool is not like 600 million plus or something like that.
You mean with like the PulseX and the Pulse pools? Because so many people have coins?
So it's not going to be as small as Hex. I'm 100% certain of that.
Oh, yeah.
But 99.9%.
Yeah.
Well, my boy Blue brings up a good point. Depends on how well Liquid Loans works. And
yeah, that could be massive.
How many people utilize Liquid Loans, which I'll spin that into this question. After we've seen all of these, CeFi companies, Celsius and Genesis and all this type of Voyager, they're all imploding. Do you think that's going to scare some people away from utilizing the Liquid Loans protocol?
I mean, maybe, but I think it just depends on how well researched this whole project is and how it depends on the narrative. Because I think if people are scared, they're not going to want to kick loans or do anything or interact with anything where their coins are held by something else. You know, they're probably going to want to go to something like Hex whenever they find out. But I think Liquid Loans is something different. You know, it's not CeFi. It's not. Yeah, there is, like, you could call it counterparty risk as far as, you know, you're placing your coins in a different contract, and I mean they're not in your wallet anymore, but it's different.
Well, okay, I just remembered some numbers that I've done before because I haven't talked about this in a while. So Pulse, if I recall correctly, the AMM bot is going to inject between, like, I think it's closer to 1%, which is still huge. Richard's calculations are like 2.5% to
That
that's
changes a
how
lot.
much it has to create and put into pools that
Mhm.
nobody sacrificed and
Mhm.
put those out there, but it's available for sale. So people can just everyone who gets free airdrop of any coin, if they can trade it for that, they can get like technically free pulse.
Mhm.
And so there's all that liquidity out there. So it's literally how many trillions of pulse that is. There's trillions of pulse because 1% would be like 1.3 trillion up to 2.6 trillion if you double it to 2%. Because we're thinking 130 trillion total supply, 1% on the low end. And if we go by like the starting price, you have to multiply that by like a 10,000th of a dollar. And it ends up being like several $100 million worth of liquidity for Pulse. Whereas PulseX has no liquidity provided by any entity. Only people who sacrifice can put it up, and so they get to choose what price they're willing to sell it for. So it's going to be a way smaller liquidity pool. That thing is going to rocket ship. So Pulse is going to have a lot more liquidity, and so maybe less fluctuations, but that means less upside. And the buy and burn goes into that smaller liquidity pool too. So think about that's how I think about it anyway.
What do
That's
you
what
think?
this
What
comment
is
says.
smaller liquidity pool?
Brigadiers, I think the money
what's
will
the-
shift when the pool's open. Also want to send a
Doesn't care.
shout out to Heinz Crypto. I know he's here. David James. Guys, we got a lot of people. If you see someone you know or someone from your groups in here, please send them a shout out. I want to recognize a lot of people. Trevor Hansen and active in the chat. Daniel Dudley. Actually, he had a question here, does he? A long-term incentive to play. We've got so many people here today, and they're all here to see you all. So thank you for bringing some eyes to my channel. And this conversation is fire. As
It has to
seems.
be the twerking video. I think the twerking video is the thing that did it.
Yeah, well, it must have been. Yeah, I think people heard that K4K was going to start twerking, and they wanted to.
Well, what do you
Open
guys
for a
think
live
about
twerk.
that? What do you guys think about all that pulse sitting in the pools at the start that nobody who sacrificed put there? It's a large amount of supply.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
It is.
Yep.
PulseX doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, and no, that is a big deal. Like even if you look, I did a spreadsheet on the liquidity that was going to be there for like a 1% valuation of supply increase, and yeah, there's a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity for Pulse. It's going to take a lot of dollars to move that price up, and it really does depend on how that pool is set for PulseX. You know, what the pools are set at, who provides liquidity, and how thick that is. But I mean, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the likelihood? Like, why? Like, what is? Because this is the thing that I kind of think of. Why or why not would whoever provides that first pool or the first pools provide more or less liquidity in the beginning? Like, what's the incentive to do and not to?
It's good to have a decent size liquidity pool because people could dump. If it starts at like a whatever 5x, 7x, 10x, who knows? So you kind of do want to have some protection there.
That's what Ethereum did. I'm so excited. I hope it does the same thing.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think because people can dump, you want at least a decent size liquidity pool because otherwise it will just go to zero. Well, not to zero, like 0.0.
I hope they sell it for zero. Imagine selling your future away.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take your future.
I mean, wouldn't we rather they get like less out? So, but you can't really help it with Pulse. But with PulseX, only sacrificers get to choose how much goes in there. I don't think the OA amount for PulseX is going to provide like tons of Pulse in the or PulseX into that liquidity pool.
Right.
And we actually do know, at least from my recent information, which pools are going to be incentivized first. Because there's like, obviously, since the DAO is the one that votes on it, if nobody voted yet, technically we should start with nothing being incentivized, but we are launching with some default pools. And I think I posted it. Let me check my thing here, but I know PulseX is a incentivized pool. So they're going to be kind of linked together. So if PulseX is pumping hard, it should kind of pull Pulse with it. That's good. And then I think there's a like real stablecoin USDC, like bridged in version with Pulse is going to be another one. And I think there's one or two other ones, and then the rest have to be voted on by the PulseX people. So those are the starting pools kind of thing. So there should be a lot of PulseX liquidity because there's going to be a reward there.
Which means if they're both equal in liquidity, roughly, I mean, it's tough to say which one will move faster. I mean, like if they're both going to roughly want to move up at the same rate with the same amount of dollars flowing into it, I mean, PulseX kind of has the leg up in that sense, you know?
If they have the same dollars going into it, PulseX crushes it. It has less liquidity. So,
exactly.
But that's the thing is like some people say, well, everyone's going to want the L1. And so they're saying like, well, there should be 5 times more people, but they might have 5 times more liquidity. So I don't know if that's the exact cancels out math, but it's going to dampen it for sure.
Well, if PulseX starts to move, I mean, people just FOMO. They see something going up and they buy it. So if PulseX starts moving, you know,
and people who buy PulseX, they're going to stake it. They're not even like, they don't even have to look at it in their wallet. They're just looking at this other thing they're getting for free, and then they sell that. What are they going to buy? More PulseX, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's assuming that people don't dump when after the first 10x. I mean,
that's true.
All of us
that is going to be dumpage.
Staking, but we all know that people are going to have.
I think after pumpage, though.
I mean, so this is kind of the question you have to ask: like, how many dumb people do you know? Probably a lot.
A lot.
Yep. So there's probably going to be a lot of dumb people. I don't know, dude. I see a lot of dumb people in crypto.
I'm trolling.
Yeah, for sure,
I'm chilling.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of dumpage because I even see it in my comments. And people just cannot handle having a lot of money. They need to self-sabotage. They need to wreck themselves because they haven't accepted mentally that they can have a lot of money because they don't feel like they deserve it. So subconsciously, they'll find a way to wreck themselves and then justify it by saying trading.
Well, I think too, like not to challenge that, but I think though we got to be a little bit more fair. And I think that, you know, while there are people that don't fully understand, there are people that have certain life circumstances where they need that 10x and they need that 5x, and that's life-changing money for them or putting them in a situation. And so I think there's a bunch of those people in crypto as well, because I've seen them in the comments. You know, I've had videos that have come up that have said where I've talked about like, you know, money can't make you happy, or like that whole line of thinking, right? And going down those, and the amount of people that have come to me in comments or in either the videos or on Twitter and, you know, countered that has made me aware that like, okay, yeah, there are people in this space that are going to just be like, they can't handle it, and they self-sabotage and they dump their bags away and their future away. But I think there are a lot of people that are in crypto because that 10x could change their life even temporarily and get them out of a bad position, you know? So I think there's those people too we got to consider.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also think about the number of people that in this last bull run, call it 2021, got wrecked. And as soon as they see any sort of silver lining or an opportunity to even come out, you know, break even, they'll sell.
Yeah, but those are dumb people.
Well,
everyone's got a different split. Everyone's in a different space, man. I don't know. I
don't know, because, you know, there's this thing called jobs. You know, you can make money outside of crypto, right? I mean, people seem to forget that.
I mean, poor decisions were made. There's no doubt. There are people that probably put way too much into the sacrifice set that they couldn't afford to. Some people maybe even went in on leverage to do that. I mean, everybody says it. Don't invest money you can't afford to lose. But seriously, guys, don't invest money you can't afford to lose.
Well, I definitely did not follow that advice.
Hey, I'm glad I did, because I lost a lot of money in Celsius. And yeah, it sucked, but nothing's changed, fortunately. And I mean, you're talking about stupid people. Hey, right here, I got an education. I got a PhD in DUMB recently. So, you know, I learned my lesson. It is what it is. So now I got to take my GED and get a GOB and get some money back.
Not to rub like salt into the wound, but you were following Richard Hart, right? So did the not your keys, not your coins, not kind of?
I think he said he didn't know that that's how they were handling the money with Celsius. Right?
Yeah. I wasn't. So no, this is a good question. Let's jump into this. I'm happy to throw myself on the sword so other people can learn. This last cycle, the 2021 bull market cycle, was my first full cycle in crypto, and I do. I do my best to listen to both sides of all arguments. You know, Richard Hart is very polar. And he says the opposite of what everybody else says to an extreme. And so being new to him, I had to take what he said with a grain of salt, because there was a complete opposite side to that. So I listened to several different people. He was the one that was the farthest outlier, the black swan, if you will. And so I just, I couldn't go all in on what he said because there hadn't been enough time. Not enough time had elapsed in learning and listening for me to go all in on what he said. And so, unfortunately, one of the other people I listened to a lot of was Alex Mashinsky. And I was pointed to him by somebody that I trust. And I still trust this guy. I mean, people make mistakes. It is what it is. But so, I mean, the two of the people I listened to the most were on exact opposite streams. So I kind of landed somewhere in between. I took a little bit of risk with Celsius. I took a little bit of risk with Hex. I bought some of the stable stuff, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And here I am today. Everybody lost because where I bought Hex. Now, granted, it's staked and I'm not worried about it. But so, I'm leaving the battlefield. I'm beat up a little bit. I kind of smoke a little bit. I need a good shower. But at the end of the day, I learned my lesson. And moving forward, I'm not, I'm just listening to Richard Hart. It is what it is. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do is get better from it, right? What else are you going to do? Yeah, be depressed.
And now, I mean, what I have learned is there's the old saying, you don't know what you don't know. And now I have a better idea of what that is. One of the things I took away from this whole experience is that, I need to learn how to do much more thorough research. And I also learned that I need to learn how to read charts. Not to be a TA guy, but history repeats itself. These charts they're all patterns. They're there for a reason. So understanding the charts, understanding liquidity, understanding buy pressure, sell pressure, all this type of stuff more thoroughly is going to help me in the future. And really now I have a good appreciation for what not your keens, not your coins actually means. So, you can tell somebody that smokes cigarettes, hey, those are going to kill you. And you know what they'll say? Oh yeah, I know. But there's a difference between knowing and realizing. And once you've realized, it's too late. And I realized what not your keys, not your coins means.
Hey,
so if you're listening, don't do that.
Going back to what you said, like you don't know what you don't know. At one point in all of our lives, none of us knew what cryptocurrency was while it was around.
Yeah.
And it's like probably one of the most important things to learn about still to this day. And sometimes I wonder, what if I didn't know about crypto and it's this amazing and this big? What if there's something even better returns than crypto exists and we don't know about it yet? We're still in a bubble here. Like we're all still learning, and so don't feel bad about messing up.
I'm human. I mess up a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to find good information out there. There's so much out there. That's why I wanted to make my own content, because then I can choose what I share, and I only share what I think is the most true information out there. And I hope everyone else goes out with that same intention, but I don't think everybody does. I think some people have different intentions, but I just did add more voice of helpful reason to the space if I could.
So my whole point is just sharing my learning journey so other people don't make the same mistakes I do. And if I help one person, then I'm successful. And quick shout out here, another $5 super chat. I don't want Alan. Oh, it is Alan, man.
Alan
I got to get my eyes checked, bro. I hit that stage of life, which is super not exciting. He says, I'm glad Pulse is delayed. This is training people outside of Richard Hart ecosystem to delay gratification, even if it's not voluntary. That is very true. I mean, as you all were talking earlier, how thankful are we that we sacrificed when we did, instead of
you want to know something,
those coins go down.
Extra cool with the sacrifice.
Yeah.
So let's say you are in Europe and you sacrifice euro into a sacrifice that is valued in US dollars. Well, you essentially just saved, what is it, 20% because euro is going down against the dollar?
Euro got dunked on, yeah.
Yep. So
I think that's crazy how much it's gone down since.
Dude, that's crazy. It's absolutely, people say the dollar is wrecked, but everything else against the dollar is even more wrecked.
Yeah. I've always thought of like the euro as being like 1.5 times US dollar, and I look and it's like 3% more. I was like, wait.
I get the press looking at it, I'm like, that sucks.
I'm like, holy crap. Those Europeans are wrecked.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody's wrecked. I mean, it's
everybody.
Just a tough time out there right now. Tough time out there.
Opportunity, get a job, make money, stop making excuses.
Well,
also, I'm very straight to the point with people, because I feel like as streamers, we need to let people realize this is personal responsibility, If people are dumb, just call them out. Because let's say, for instance, no, I'm dead serious. Like I had so I was slacking in the gym, right? And my friend came up to me. He said, dude, you're getting fatter. Get your shit together. And guess what I did? I got my shit together. They're not like, oh, you look good. It's totally fine. Keep continuing what you're doing. No, you're getting fat, dude. Get your shit together. And that's how people are like, okay, fuck, maybe he's right.
Well, not everybody responds to brutal honesty quite as well as you do, but I agree. I do appreciate it when someone says, hey, you screwed up or you're stupid.
You know when I'm getting fat.
Okay, tell me more. I mean,
I can't
that's
get
growth
my
mindset.
life.
I mean, if I'm actively eating a half a piece of cake or a half of a cake when they tell me that, I might be like, okay, let me just finish this.
Yeah, fair point.
I do like cake. I'm not gonna lie.
Cake's good.
So what? Let me see here. We're an hour and 30 in. It feels like it's been 15 minutes, and K4K has more to say. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, let them know.
Well, I was just gonna say, because we've been talking about a little bit earlier before the Celsius thing, we were talking about the sacrifice numbers and how dumb people may dump early and stuff. But we're talking about, I just want everyone in the audience to know that this is after likely a large pump, because I think people were smart enough to see the dollar amount they put in, and if they were to sell it at a loss day one, they can see, oh, I'm getting this many dollars. This is less. Why would I sell it? And sure, some people do sell for losses because they need it, but I don't think that's a large enough portion. I think likely there's way more gunpowder saved up, kegs and kegs of it, waiting for day one launch because they want to get more exposure. And I think that counteracts the people who want to sell it, I guess. And so likely this dump we're talking about is after probably several X's, kind of similar to Ethereum's launch, where people got in using Bitcoin, and then basically they saw like a 10X, and then it dropped 86%, but it would never drop below their, I guess you could call it their sacrifice price, because no one wants to sell for a loss, right? So it kind of went down, but it never went below what people paid. And then it went up and did like 50X after that. So
yeah. And
That's
I fully
the
expect
jump we're
that to
talking
happen.
about after the up.
Yeah, exactly. I fully expect that to happen with Pulse and PulseX. I expect it to go up, 30, 40X straight out of the gate, and then you'll see a big sell-off. People
oh my gosh, 30 or 40X.
That's a huge.
That on paper, I mean, it's possible. Totally
think
possible.
about what happens though. I mean, I just experienced a new coin launch recently, which I'm not going to mention because it's not a Richard Hart project, but the second it launched,
Richard laughing behind you.
Yeah,
he's like,
how appropriate, right?
How appropriate.
The second it launched, it did a 10X just because there was so many people right there with their finger on the trigger. So 30 seconds into this project launch, most people think that the launch price was, what the 10X price actually is. And then it went up a little from there. But if you look at the actual launch price, and if you look at any of these, especially meme coins, they go straight up, and then there's a sell-off and they bleed out before they start to go back up.
And usually those are like airdropped coins, and then that's why the chart looks like that. This is different than most. It looks like, I think it's going to look most like the Ethereum chart. And where was it going? Ethereum chart. Oh, because it's not going to be like the Hex launch, because that was constant super inflation for a whole year. People can get these coins, and it's inflating the supply. On the second day, it's not double because the first day was 1 billion, then it was 500 million. So you increase the supply by 50% the second day. Next day is like 20-some%. It was huge. And so even though there was huge pent-up demand, it only pushed it up so much, and then there's so much inflation and new supply being gobbled up and introduced to the market. Then it had this chart where it was like, and down. Whereas ours is everyone's in at the same price at the start, and it all launches instantly. So no one's getting new supply later, like this being created and added. It's totally different launch. So people look at Hex and compare it sometimes. Not a lot of people, but I've seen it, and I'm like, that's not gonna look like that.
No.
Yeah.
Let everybody know. Look at the ETH launch. I think that's what we're most likely to look like.
I like my idea better, just 30X right out of the gate.
I do too.
Give me
30X, then minus 99, and then up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 30X, and then an 85% pullback, and then a slow and steady increase.
to the moon.
Or we could just do 30X and be like, it never goes back down. I like that idea better, but it's not realistic.
Yeah, I wonder if I could do calculations on like what liquidity pools might look like and then how much money you can guess might come in
Oh
and
shit!
what prices would look like. You probably could do that.
We're bringing K4K's channel back alive.
Let's
You've
go.
done it.
Dude, I would love to do this stuff, but I've just family stuff and moving stuff. Yeah, but in a week I'll be back.
Well, I mean, it's summertime.
More exciting content too.
Yeah, for those of us that are in the north or the Midwest, it's summertime, and CryptoGRFX Europe, where they only get summer for about 2 to 3 weeks. Has that even happened yet?
We're still waiting on it. The leaves still
Okay.
haven't come back. They're not on the trees yet.
They don't let them go outside. It's curfew.
Yeah, my internet. I'm lucky to have my internet right now. Actually, don't know why they haven't shut it off yet. I think it's past my time.
Oh
All
man.
joking aside, that's
I mean, one thing I kind of do want to say is when it comes to like, I'll say it, the dumb people dumping. When you make a decision, you're essentially always giving up something for something else. So when you're selling, what are you buying? I mean, you're essentially selling a new ecosystem in its infancy that has a potential to go up absolutely massively in the next bull market. So when you sell it at a 10x, what are you buying? I mean, what's the better option?
It's
Well, they're
percentage.
probably spending it on, they're going to get dollars, maybe pay off a mortgage and then go back in or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're buying.
a lot of people don't think about that. They just think about the dollar value and that's it. And then they're like, okay, what the fuck do I do now? And then they go back into crypto, but they buy in at worse prices and they get a tax bill. People seem to forget that.
Yeah, the tax bill, that's a fail.
Yep.
I am not selling this stuff for years is basically what it's going to look like. Like,
yield only.
Look at those ETH whales.
If you are.
Look at those ETH whales. There's going to be people like that in a few years who have just have 100,000 Ethereum level bags, and they're just like, oh, I'm going to get in the next Richard project is basically what it's going to look like.
Yep.
Just keep rolling the gains and cash out what, if you want to upgrade your lifestyle a little bit, you don't need that much money to do it, Like people pull out their whole bag at once and stuff instead of just like, oh, I'm going to use this for that. Maybe do that, but don't pull out your whole bag. Like, who does that? Don't do that.
A lot of people, because they want a Lambo. They'd rather drive around in a Lambo and feel important.
Richard's right. People are going to regret those purchases. When you see how much your 200 grand staying in that coin would have done, you're going to be like, wow, that could have been 200 mil.
Yeah, and then you look at the Lambo, you're like,
swallow.
Oh, fuck.
Like, think of the influence and impact on the world you can make with that kind of money and resources, if that's your goal, is to make impact or whatever. Because, like, average guy, I guess, 200 mil, they're just like, well, what am I going to buy? The biggest house and then what? But I hope people with goals and intentions of improving the world get this bountiful wealth, so they can make bigger impact. Because I think us Hexicans all have great ideas for making the world a better place. That's like kind of I love that our cryptosphere it's more than just crypto and getting rich and buying Lambos. Even though we talk about that, it's like we want to make everyone's life better by fixing this money. That's how I see it. And I am down for fixing that. I just want to see what the world's like when there's a money that's not tainted by central banks,
Well, that's very true. I mean, there's two comments here about, as you were saying, Jake, where are you going to go? You're going to put it in dollars and lose 20% a year on your dollars. And then Bitfinesse here says there's just nowhere else for money to go right now because it's just garbage. You're literally just buying paper.
Yep.
So the way I kind of convince my wealthy friends about this that are not in crypto, I'm like, okay, so let's say hypothetically you're holding $100 million in the bank. Well, did you know that you're paying 20 million a year in tax?
Okay, hold on a second.
Invisible tax.
Nice.
They don't see their buying power going down.
Yes, exactly.
So they're like, that feels good, and then you're being stolen from the whole time. You have to outpace it. That's the only way.
Yep.
So here's something I just learned about Jake. He has friends that have 100 million in the bank. My wealthy friends drink Miller High Life.
I don't.
So, I mean, I think we're hanging out on a different beach.
Hypothetically, so.
Yeah, hypothetically, it's just the way you frame it is like it's invisible taxation, inflation. That's all it is.
Yeah, it is. So 2 questions we've got, and then I think we might have stumbled onto something here. If you guys have been paying attention to the comments, we've had a lot of people say they would like to see a repeat of this stream semi-frequently. So if you guys are up for it, maybe we could do something monthly. I'm having a blast. I can't believe for a minute it's already been an hour and 40. So maybe we'll talk about that afterwards. But we spoke a lot about doing your own research, and in the questions I've seen maybe 20 people say, what are your thoughts on Wait, the Wait coin that just came out? If any of you are familiar with it, if any of you have done any research on it whatsoever, somebody did mention that Crypto Coffee did a video on it, and he feels confident in it. And by the way, we're at 152 people in chat. This is amazing, y'all. Thank you for being here.
Sick.
Everybody heard K4K was coming back, and Jake was going to fix all the problems of the world. CryptoGRFX and I are just going to hang out in the 3 weeks of summer we get.
Exactly.
On the beach drinking Miller High Life.
Dude, I'm so excited to enjoy the summer. You gotta, I mean, the bear market is just like, you're just waiting, earn money to invest at the bottom, wait, and don't look at the charts if that's giving you pain, because what's it going to help? Stay in the loop a little bit and live your life, enjoy it. I cannot wait to go tubing down the river.
That sounds pretty nice.
I'm looking forward to that so much. So
stop by anytime, man. I'll pull you tubing. Of course, it's not down a river. It's behind a
pull
boat.
me.
You
No,
might
I just float.
So, but let's talk about Wait. I think that this is my opinion, and it's worth what you paid for it. But I think that the name in and of itself, Wait, is what we should be doing. Until somebody we know, we trust, does a good video, really dives deep into it, and tells us. And then you do your own
I don't know
research.
anything about it. I just know Crypto Coffee made a video. I saw it pop up on my phone. Tells me to watch things sometimes.
Okay, let's.
I don't know anything about it, so go ahead.
Hypothetically, let's say I didn't look into it a lot. I actually didn't look into it at all because I hate the name. I mean, this token is not going to exist once PulseChain launches. People realize that, right? What's the purpose of it?
Why is it not going to last?
I just kind of looked at like the high level of it. I'm like, this is a dumb idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like the 1 sentence marketing thing, because you get like free airdrop based on how long you've waited, but then once the waiting is over, what happens? And
so what would you say
wait.
then?
What if we don't wait anymore?
Wants to cash out their airdrop, they get it now, can turn it into Hex, turn it into.
Oh yeah, like that. Yeah, but don't pick up pennies in front of freight trains. It might be good.
Hey, are you talking to me?
No, it might be good because I saw some people that were like, okay, the claim is safe. I don't know. I'm not verifying this. I'm just very wary, man, because like one wrong move and you could be crying for a very long time. So it's best to make
especially with your SAC address. Yes. I don't recommend anyone mess with their SAC address. Like
I'm not saying anything wrong about the team. I don't like taking risks at all. It's not needed.
So what can, I mean, for those that don't know, what can happen? K4K, you said don't mess with your SAC address. This Wait token, you need to connect your sacrifice wallet to their chain or whatever it is in order to claim your airdrop. So what can happen?
Well, I've seen posts and I've seen people describing if you connect to a DApp and you sign it, they can just swipe every coin in your whole wallet. So, I mean, some guy might say it's safe, but if they just have a front end website and that's what you're using to connect to it, they can just change that anytime they want. And then if you're not paying attention, you saw the video yesterday and the guy was like, it's fine, it's good, worked for me. That might be true, but either the guy who hosts the website or some guy who doesn't have anything to do with the website hacks it. You can change some code, boom, you lost everything. No thanks. Not worth it for a couple $100 even. Like even 1,000, several thousand, not worth it. Because if you have a SAC address and you know what's coming with especially like with your SAC address, if it's like connect some random dummy wallet and you don't have anything in it, that's probably fine.
We can on the way to Mr. Lampe's, but I'm not going to do it right now, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but K4K makes a super good point. I actually never thought about that. What if there's a front end on the website and then all of a sudden they change the smart contract that the website interacts with? I mean, that is scary, man. I never thought about that. That's actually a super good point.
Yeah, hashtag wrecked. It's called ice fishing.
What is it called?
Ice fishing. You can Google it. It tells you all about it. It's basically just like if it's a front end and that's the only way you can interact with it, there's the risk of them wrecking you that way, where they just drain your wallet.
Ice fishing. So here's a funny thing. I just did this entire stream. I thought my Yeti microphone was on, but it wasn't. So I was talking to my son when you guys were like, what is he talking about? I thought it was muted, but no, I'm not. So anyway, thank you for describing that, because that's one thing. Like, you can interact with the DApp now and it looks good, but if it's not immutable code and they change it on the back end, they can clean you out.
If they show you how to do it on Etherscan and you can do it through the verified code, then you know you're running that code at least. And then you also have to know the code enough to know that they don't have keys to change the code on whatever basis too.
Right.
So it's just, for a little bit of money, it is basically picking up pennies in front of freight trains, in my opinion. Whenever you know that if you just wait for PulseChain, that's going to be amazing. Do you want to risk that all of that amazingness to not have your sacrifice because you tried to get $100 wrecked?
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, we've had some good ones or whatever that have come out, and so people are getting used to, it's safe to get these, but all you need is one and you're wrecked for life, you know?
Yep, that's so true.
So I don't recommend this stuff. Like, it's up to it's that thing again of like, if I tell them to do their research, then I'm good. But like, you're the reason they got wrecked. In my opinion, that's how I feel about it. So I probably won't do it. But I don't blame people who are sharing the information and telling everyone the risks. At least you're telling them the risks, you know.
Well, we got another super chat from Alan. Thank you very much. One time for K4K streamed and then he stopped. And then he came back and he stopped again. But guess what? He's going to be back.
Oh, he's joking, because I have a video that's kind of like that, where I talked about the hex price. I was like, this one time, hex went up 10,000%, and then it crashed down 50%, and then it went up 20,000%, and when it crashed 85%. And it's like, moral of the story: don't buy hex, because you know it's going to crash. But basically, it goes up way more than it goes down, and you can see it in the video. It's like dry humor. I just copied the frame or the video from like 2015. Some guy did it for Bitcoin, and the guy's like chewing on something. You can barely understand what he's saying, but it's hilarious. I should have had something in my mouth to chew to make it just like it, but I figured it worked. I couldn't use exact numbers like dollar amounts, because hex was such a low price. It would sound stupid to be like, hex was 0.0001 and then it went to 0.0002, and it's like because for Bitcoin, he was like, first it was $2, then it went to $30, then it dropped to $5, then it went to $200, then it went to $20 or something. So he did dollar amounts, I did percentages, worked better.
Nice. All right, guys, I'm getting the hook. Family saying we got to bounce, so I'm going to finish this stream with my favorite question. I always ask this question. Try to keep it brief so I don't get in trouble. But I always like to ask, tell me something good. We've had a lot of fun. You know, I started the stream with, we got nothing to talk about, and here we are an hour and 50 minutes later, still just nonstop. So it turns out we had some stuff to talk about. We had upwards of 152 people, I think, in chat. Before we wrap it up, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Davis, Roof Dog, Crypto Heartbeat, and Alan for their super chats. Very generous. Appreciate the support. We're all very thankful for you. And we have the suggestion from the audience that we make this maybe a monthly thing. So I'll talk to you gentlemen. I'll stream about that, but maybe we could have some fun there too. So since this is your first time, Jake, on my channel, and you probably weren't expecting me to ask you this question, I'll leave you for the last. Crypto graphics, you're always full of just positive information. You're always excited about stuff. Let's start with you on this one. Tell me something good that's coming our way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of all in on learning, you know, this whole Hedron thing and everything about that. And I think that if that works out, well, assuming best case scenario for Hedron and it goes well, Hedron is going to make Hex explode upward as well. And I think that, you know, it's worth at least looking into to consider the ramifications for if this thing goes really well, how are you going to utilize it in the long term, you know? And I think it's worth diving into and figuring out if it's worth it for you, because man, it's either a really good opportunity to make some really great gains for maybe a small amount of money that's not your main bag, or it directly supports your main bag. And learning how to use the free coins that you're getting to support your main bag might be a great strategy as well. So I'm a big fan of that. I'd suggest everyone, I have a video that I released this morning talking about Hedron, breaking it down. There's another 4-part series I have, or 2 or 3 more parts coming out with the in-depth analysis and maybe some game theory talk at the end. I suggest everyone watch that and do their own research on that, because that might be something special. It might be. I don't know. I still have a lot of work to do to figure it out, but follow me along and do your own research, and that might be something special coming down the pipeline.
Super cool. Thank you.
Awesome.
K4K, what are you fired up about?
I mean, I'm pretty excited to get this last vacation over with, so I can get back to making content. Because like I like to vacation with my family, while they're still young, my parents,
Right on.
So I'm excited. I've been spending some time with them in the summer and moving stuff around, real life stuff. But I'm going to be excited to get back into crypto and really diving deep again for you guys, so I can share you the best information. So I'm excited to be back, I guess we'll say, in a week. I have to wait 1 week.
Looking forward to it.
Excited to have you back. All right, Jake, you've got a lot going on. I know you're building things on the side. You're excited about PulseChain launch. It sounds like you're building an empire. I would like to learn more about that maybe next time we're on stream. But for the sake of this stream, tell me something good. What are you fired up about?
Everything. I mean, everything is good. I mean, so I'll keep it short, but the way I kind of live my life is I don't let negative things into my mind. So even if my entire house is on fire, I'll convince myself it's the best thing that could have happened to me. So at any point in time in my life, I always look at everything very positively. So everything that is happening currently, the bear market is an opportunity. The PulseChain delay is an opportunity. I mean, I would not have started my channel. I would not have started sharing information and building stuff if PulseChain had launched. Or maybe I did, but we're here now, So I'm positive about everything. I mean, especially if people are like, I only live off of crypto and that's the only thing I do, just get a job for a while, man. I mean, the $2,000 a month that you'll make, that could be 200 grand in like 3 years. I'd work for 200 grand a month. I don't know about you.
Good way to look at it.
Not financial advice, but yeah, people have to become smarter when they look at money. Just don't stop making dumb decisions is essentially my point. Look at everything positively. The world is good. Crypto is a massive opportunity. As long as the Fed is raising interest rates, it's going to suck. But the moment that's done, and with a year before the next Bitcoin halving, I mean, I don't know, dude. It looks good. So I'm excited about everything.
That's cool. I love the positivity. And I'll tell you what I'm excited about, what I think is good out there. The 3 of you on this stream. I got to thank you all. I mean, y'all are here. You're genuinely awesome people. I want to show this comment here. This says, well done, kindness, but this actually goes out to all of you. You're great people. You're here to help the community. I'm reinvigorated. Like, I was bored. I was thinking about hanging it up for a while, but because of people like you, there is a lot to talk about. There's a lot of exciting things out there. You all are taking the time and you're spending the energy to bring good information, good content, and help people learn. And it's because of people like you that this community is great. So what am I excited about? I'm excited about folks like you and the community as a whole. If we look at the 152 people that were here in chat today, positive comments, just, super, super supportive, thankful, appreciative, very generous with their time and money. And that just says a lot about, I mean, if you want to know why PulseChain is going to be excited, why PulseChain is going to be fire, and why PulseX and the whole Richard Hart community is going to do very, very well, the ecosystem for financial returns, I just told you why. It's the community, it's the streamers, it's the content creators, and it's the general positive, uplifting environment that we all are creating. So cheers to you, gentlemen. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the invite. And that's why they call you Crypto Kindness. Yeah, thanks for the invite, man, because, I probably just wouldn't have made anything until I got back anyway, so pulled me out of my shell.
Yeah,
all right, well, with that, I'm going to wrap it up, y'all. Have a wonderful day. All of you in chat, thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure to chat with you, to interact with you, and I wish everybody has a wonderful weekend.
Peace out, chat.
Yep.
See you guys.
Good.